welcome to the Five Things Podcast. This episode, it's going to be the 5 weirdest things we've ever drank. I'm expecting some variety here. I know that I have drank some weird things, and I know what your favorite drink is. And it is arguably the weirdest thing not only to drink, but the weirdest thing to enjoy drinking.
It's the best thing to enjoy drinking.
I don't want to spoil your list, because I'm sure it's on it.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah. I mean, I guess I can only talk so much smack, as I have one of my things on this desk with me, and I'm going to drink it while we do this. So,
Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of, nor did I want to, anything that was on the list. Although, if we ever do this again, like revisit it, I will, because that is a funny bit to do. But I did not think to buy anything on this list.
When we're allowed to hang out in person again, we will do this. Only we will have to drink
test
the other person's list.
That sounds so much fun.
And it'll be blind. Like, I want you to hand me a shot, and then I'm going to drink it, and then I have to guess what it is, and then you're going to be like, it's this gross thing.
So sorry for you, for various reasons that you will soon see.
I mean, we can both play that game, for being honest. We can both play that game, for sure. I got some gross stuff on here as well, although I think most of it you've had, because I've given it to you.
Probably. All right, who's going first this week, me or you?
I was trying to find like a funny thing on YouTube that we could like bet on who would win, like a weird contest, and I failed in that, unfortunately.
You just did 3, 2, 1, shoot, rock, paper, scissors is what we did last time.
All right. Well, one day we'll find the appropriate. Hey, join the Discord and suggest a better way to figure out who goes first, and we will accept those ideas, and then we'll just try all of them out and see which one works best. But rock, paper, scissors is also going to help me line up the audio for this later, so I'm down for it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Ready?
Rock,
paper, scissors. Oh, wait, what did you do? I think you're still going.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm down here, but you beat me.
Hey. There's some latency there, but I'll take the win. It still counts.
I mean, obviously I didn't cheat because I lost.
No, I definitely cheated. I was going to go on shoot. You went on scissors.
Mm-hmm.
And then also pick scissors. I was going to go rock anyway, though. Always go rock. Never fails. Anyway, my number 1, as mentioned. Well, sorry, my number 5, I guess, is this guy right here. This is the Busthead Aquavit from Three Floyds, a brewery mentioned multiple times on this podcast and pretty much everything else because we're in Indiana and they're by far the biggest brewery we have. But I have a bottle right here, and as you can tell, most of it's still there. Also, I just noticed there's like these particles floating around in there.
But there's part of the natural distilling process.
There are too many particles for them to not be there on purpose, so I'm not going to question it. But I actually bought this thinking that it was similar to something else on my list, which it honestly, fortunately, is not. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it live. Aquavit is kind of like Jaeger, only it doesn't have that like licorice taste.
No, it's not nearly as sweet.
No, it's like if you made Jaeger but didn't put whatever extra stuff they put in there. Like, I assume whatever they soak that in to give it that taste, so that if you just didn't put that in there, you know what I mean? That's what this is. Like, it has that weird thickness to it. Here, I'm gonna. Oh boy, that smells.
Just give us a live taste test, my guy.
It smells like medicine. You know, like medicine. Like, it's just like that sort of like, as soon as you smell it, you're like, oh no, childhood. Only like the bad parts.
It smells like mom worked an extra shift so the flu wasn't as miserable for me today.
It smells like, you know, like old pictures of Russia. It tastes like those look.
It smells like St. Peter's Basilica during the 50s.
Oh boy. It does still, actually, I take back what I said about the licorice. That's definitely, that black licorice taste is definitely still, it's not as strong, but actually, it might be more licoricey. I don't know. I gotta drink all of that. Oh boy, it's not. I could see why people would like it. If you like this specific taste, I could see if you were watching this and you like Aquavit and you were like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I love that stuff. I could see it. But it's just so weird. I know that you've had this because I've given it to you before.
It's excellent.
Yeah, you love it because it tastes like, I assume, what your number 5 is, or your number 1, depending on how you decided to rank these things.
I meant St. Basil's Cathedral earlier. For the people that listen to this and are like, why did he say something about Rome instead? Well, Vatican City instead of Russia. I meant St. Basil's.
I mean, there's equally offensive jokes to make about how this tastes like the Vatican, but we'll let that go.
Oof. The funny building in Russia that you can skate on in Tony Hawk's Underground. That one with the pillars.
You know what? Good for Tony Hawk for teaching history.
Right. Yeah, I have had this, and I like it a lot, personally.
Yeah, I think that the biggest difference between our lists is everything you're going to say, I feel you're going to be like, I actually enjoy this taste, and all of my stuff is going to be like, it's all equally weird. I'm just not as happy about it.
I don't think we'll have a lot of commonality because I specifically went things that I don't like, except for my number 5, which you've already guessed.
I think our lists are going to be very different. I think our opinions of our lists is also going to be different. Like, I don't enjoy drinking almost everything on my list, and I feel like you like most of your stuff. I will say that confidently, knowing none of what's on it.
All right.
You ready?
Yes.
Whoa, no way.
Oh, you guessed it. Jeffersons Mallory. One of my favorite liqueurs. I haven't had it in a while because you can't easily find it. I need to just go to a liquor store that has it. I know for a fact there's like 1 or 2 here in Indy that do carry it because I've been told by friends. I love Jeffersons Mallory. I like bitter things just in general. For people who are unfamiliar with it, it tastes like the human emotion of regret, I think, is the best way to describe the flavor.
Yeah, it's accurate. It's accurate. I agree with that.
It's the single most bitter liquid I've ever tasted. It has a very herbal flavor to it, and not herbal like green tea, herbal like you just chewed chewed mulch kind of. It was actually created by a man named Jepson, and he used wormwood stills or wormwood something to make most of the flavor, and it was sold as medicine during the Prohibition. One of the reasons it was okay to sell it as medicine during Prohibition, legend has it, is that somebody in charge of like saying this is medicine or this isn't medicine in Chicago tasted it and said no one in their right mind would ever drink this unless they had to.
Which is accurate. I know one bar that serves this, and if you order it for anybody else, they will like interrogate that person because people prank other people so often, and they don't want you to do that. That's how bad it is.
Kuma's Corner, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
But like Jesus, they will return. Yeah, they caught on fire like a couple of months ago, and they haven't been open for like 4 or 5 months.
I knew about that. I thought they were like gone.
No, they're not gone. They're supposed to be back in like 3 or 4 months, I think.
Okay. Jesus, you can't spring that on me live on stream. It's gonna start.
Where am I ever gonna get a Slayer or an Axe Angel again?
Where will I go when I'm allowed to be hungover again?
Exactly. Or get a handshake, which is where you get a shot of Malort, and an Old Style, which is a beer from Chicago that's also pretty good. Very just normal American beer, but pretty good.
Old Style is not good. It's not bad.
I like it better than Hams.
What?
Yeah. Oh, I don't dislike Hams, but when it comes to like the cheapest beer you can get around here, I would put Old Style above Hams.
Really? Okay, we are, as a bonus episode, possibly tonight if I can make it work, we need to do a tier list.
Tier list of cheap beers?
Of cheap beer. Because I feel that like this might be the first true fight we ever have, is the arguments over what is the best cheap beer.
No, the best cheap beer is PBR.
Okay. Yes. 100% yes. You know I agree with that. I am an adult with a real job, and I still drink PBR. But I'm willing to believe if we start getting into every other cheap beer, I think that we have some very strong different opinions.
I bet we would, yeah. That'll be the next. No, we'll just do as a bonus episode.
Dude, we should after this. There's a tier like web app. Let's just do it.
Give it a shot. I'm down for that. But if we did wait, we could buy all of the beers that we're going to put in the list.
Yeah, but then we're gonna realize they all taste the same.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna run into that whole like, wait, hold on, which one is this?
We'll do the tier list after. Okay, I'm down for that. It'll be fun.
Cool.
So, yeah, Jeffersons Mallory has a special place in my heart, as does everything on this list for me personally. I tried it for the first time. I went to Illinois State University to visit a different school when I was in college. I was in a fraternity. Sorry if people don't like fraternities. But we would always visit other chapters, and the Illinois Wesleyan chapter of the fraternity I was in did this huge basketball tournament where all the chapters that could make it each year would raise money and then go and participate in this basketball tournament with all the other chapters. And we would donate all the money to charity. It was a different charity every year. It was so much fun. My team would always win the first game because I went to a small private school, and we were much better at doing anything hungover than any of the other schools were good at doing anything hungover. But then we would lose every game after that because none of us were athletic. One year, Purdue brought a guy that was actually on their basketball team and just crushed everyone. No contest.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know.
Cool.
He was a cool guy. He was tall, ginger.
Yeah, like, I don't fault the basketball player. I fault the fraternity for being like, we're just going to ruin the tournament.
Oh, yeah, they totally did.
We're going to bring the Monstars and just, like, destroy everybody.
But yeah, so we got there Thursday night. The tournament was on Saturday. We got there Thursday night, hung out all day Friday, and did like a charity drive like the first day because we were one of the closest chapters, being in Indiana versus Illinois. Helped them with that. Had a huge party that night. It started at like 5 or 6. Woke up the next morning after 2.5 hours of sleep, played in the basketball tournament, went back to the house that we were staying, which is Illinois Wesleyan's house, crashed, woke up, had another huge party at a different place that was off of campus, and there was this guy just handing out free shots of liquor. And so I, being dumb, was like, who gives out free liquor at a party? I'm down, and I walk up, and this guy hands me a shot, and I take it, and it's very bitter, and I can't decide if I like it or not. So I ask him if I can have more, and he confusedly looks at me and pours me another shot while making direct eye contact and hands it to me, and I take it again. And I'm like, can I get another one? And at this point, one other person is watching me drink this, and he's like, you're not supposed to like this. Like, you're supposed to take it and then like spit it on me, which we then watched other people do throughout the night because he had 3 bottles with him.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, it was Illinois. It was in Illinois.
You
could get it for like $14 at the local liquor store. Also, other huge selling point of Malort. It's like even getting it here in Indy, where it's more expensive because it's not as close to where you normally get it, it's like $19.
It is very cheap.
Yeah.
It is also terrible. It is also my number 4.
Yes.
You mentioned it, and actually, yeah, everything on here has a special place in my heart as well. The Aquavit I got on the way to Chi-Tag, the Chicago Toy and Game Convention. We like stopped on the way up at Three Floyds, and I bought it just as like a whim. I had a super fun time. I was demoing games for a company there. I like met a bunch of industry people. That was awesome. So as much as Aquavit tastes terrible to me, I still, I don't know, I like it. You know, it reminds me of that. Malort is the same. I also have gone to Chicago for a bunch of different things, either in college or even like after college. And yeah, Malort is what you do when you're in Chicago. Malort is what you do when you come back from Chicago and you tell your friends, hey, do you want a shot of whiskey? And you pour them Malort and they drink it and you laugh at them. Yeah, it tastes awful, but you still drink it every time it's offered to you because it's Malort. Like every time I go to Kuma's and it's not like a hungover morning, it's like we're going to go out drinking like late afternoon / night. You do a shot of Malort. It's what you do. You know what I mean? Like it's gross, but it's unifyingly gross. People are drinking it. People are buying it. People are drinking it. It is a Chicago staple.
People are enjoying it.
some people are actually enjoying it. I don't understand, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. So do it, I guess. But I will continue to drink Malort when it is offered to me, because that is what you do.
You can. All right. Oh, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say that's my number 4.
My number 4 is Gem Clear, which is the worst thing in the universe.
You have to bring up the picture.
In what way do I have to do that?
You just click on your slide.
I am on it, on my side.
Oh, God dang it. I thought this would work. Whoop. Whatever. There it is.
Cool. Maybe I'm not doing it right. We can figure that out. I just no. You're seeing. I'm seeing you viewing my thing. It says you're on. Anyway, Gem Clear is basically mass-produced moonshine, but even worse. It's 190 proof, which is as high of alcohol content as you can legally sell in the United States. It's another Illinois thing for me. I went to the basketball tournament the second of the 3 years I went to it. And again, the guy was just giving out free shots of alcohol, this time at the house, the first night we got there. And he was just pouring it out of this bottle that looked like a toy, because what you can't really tell from this picture is this bottle is just like big, clear picture. A big clear plastic container, and he poured me a shot. And I don't know if you've ever seen The Tuxedo with Jackie Chan, where
what a movie reference. You have seen 4 movies in your entire life, and Jackie Chan's The Tuxedo is one of them.
I like Jackie Chan.
Everybody, Jackie Chan's great. I'm not talking shit about Jackie Chan. What a bizarre. I apologize. I cut you off. Please continue with your tuxedo metaphor.
You've seen Tuxedo with Jackie Chan, but the main bad guy's whole thing is he puts nanobots in the water that when you drink it make you thirsty. Drinking Gem Clear, I thought it was a cruel joke. Someone was trying to poison me because you drink it and it has such high alcohol content, it draws the moisture out of the cells in your mouth and kills them a little. It's like scientifically what happens when you drink it. It is awful. You immediately feel like, if you ever had like cask strength whiskey, that like fire you get behind your nose, that's kind of nice though. Not at all. It just tastes like you took nail polish remover and like shoved it up in there like snus.
Oof.
There's also roughly a shot of it, because it's 190 proof, is like roughly 2.5 to 3 shots of any other liquor. So you do 1 shot of it as a joke at the party, and then you drink like 2 beers within 20 minutes, if you can keep it down. Most people couldn't even keep it down. I didn't keep it down the first time I tried it. I ended up spitting it out. But then I'm a man, so I went back for more, which was a mistake.
Checks out. So is this some like off-brand Everclear? Is that what's going on here?
No, it's Gem Clear is not Everclear. Everclear is lower proof than Gem Clear. Gem Clear, you can't even get it in Indiana. You can get Everclear in Indiana. You can't get Gem Clear in Indiana. It's against the law.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was an Illinois special, because it's 190 proof, which is 95% alcohol. Pure. Yeah, so you take 1 shot of it, it's like 2.5 to 3 shots. You drink 2 or 3 beers within an hour afterward, because you think you're at like 4 servings of alcohol. Unbeknownst to you, you're at like 6 or 7 instead. And then you end up way more hungover during the basketball tournament the next day than you ever thought possible.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
I was being responsible, I thought. I may have also done another shot of that later in the night. I don't remember. I blacked out.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. I've never heard of this. This is new for me.
Oh man, next time I pass through Illinois, if I ever travel again,
yeah,
I will buy a bottle for us to share, by which I mean you and I will both do half a shot, and then it'll sit in your cabinet for the rest of eternity.
I've got some friends in Chicago. We could just travel for an episode, since so far everything in your list can only be bought in Illinois.
The next 3 can be bought in.
Well,
but yeah, that's my number 4.
My number 3 cannot be bought anywhere, because it's moonshine.
There you go.
You got to make this yourself. I really like moonshine. I like moonshine for a couple of reasons. One, I had a friend who made moonshine and was good at it. And good moonshine is awesome. You can mix it with anything because there's like no flavor to it, like by design, right? Like it just like kind of because it's corn whiskey. Like there's like a little bit of that whiskey flavor, but largely it's not. Because you're making it yourself, you can more or less set the proof because you can just keep distilling it and make it stronger. Or you can not keep distilling it and it can be like a little bit weaker, and then you've just got like your sipping moonshine that maybe you just like put like some water in. But like I've had moonshine in Ireland. I've had Irish moonshine called poachine. It's not bad. At least the one, this guy's like uncle made it or whatever. I had another friend who made moonshine with like this weird still that was just like a pot with like copper wire or copper tubes like welded to it. And that was terrible. It burned all the way down. I had moonshine that somebody got from a barber in exchange for like a haircut. Like he got a haircut and the barber was like, "Hey, try this." And it was awful. And like, I don't know, moonshine is like a fun, like it's not hard to make. And you can make really good moonshine or you can make really bad. Like, like it's yours, right? Depending on who you talk to, they have a different opinion of moonshine because they had it made by some other random person. And hopefully one day it'll be legal to just make moonshine. It's legal in some places. Certain states are cool with it. You can make up to like a gallon of your own booze.
I think in Indiana you can make a certain amount, but you can't sell it.
You definitely can't sell it, I think, anywhere because like taxes, like there's just a lot of taxes around liquor. So if it's like a state by state thing, it's just better to be like, don't sell it. I don't know if Indiana lets you or not. I may have like, I didn't make any moonshine. I am not admitting to any felonies here. Other people may have committed felonies, but we're being vague about it, so they're safe too. But it's good. And like, I don't know, I think it's a cool thing. I hope that moonshine becomes like the new, like, everybody's bought those like beer making kits. I think it'd be cool if like moonshine kits became a thing.
There's a company in Colorado that makes that.
The Mr. Distiller.
Yeah, Mr. Distiller. I've been talking about getting one of those for years. I might just go ahead and do it. I just got $600 from the government. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, they're not too expensive. The problem with the Mr. Distiller is you can't control the heat. It just gets hot. It's essentially a automatic like electric kettle with a big fan on top of it. So it heats your mixture, it evaporates up. This giant fan spins, cools it down, it drips out. It kind of looks like a coffee maker. And it just drips out this thing, and then you put your jar under it or whatever. With like a coffee filter.
Yeah.
So it like self-filters as it drips out, and then you can distill it 3 times like normal, store-bought booze, or you can just not and be hungover in the morning.
Live your dreams.
Yeah.
If your dreams are to be hungover, then who are we to tell you not to?
But yeah, I like moonshine. It reminds me of, honestly, college, like just after college. I had some moonshine over Christmas from somebody. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It can be good. It can be terrible. I think it's interesting. Lots of weird recipes and stuff. So moonshine's my number 3.
All right. My number 3 is Skull Vodka, although I actually didn't want Skull Vodka. There's a cheaper version. There's a cheaper vodka that you can get in Indiana, but I can't remember the name of it. I think it's like Kamchatka.
Kamchatka.
Yeah. Is that a vodka brand that you're familiar with? I couldn't find it online, but I could have sworn that was the name. Thank you. Okay. Kamchatka vodka was the vodka I wanted to find, but I couldn't find a picture of it, so I just misspelling it. But Kamchatka was the vodka of choice at Trine University because it was the cheapest at Gay's Liquor, which was the local liquor store in most of northeastern Indiana, if you're unfamiliar. It was like $7 for a fifth, I want to say. And yeah, I don't drink vodka straight personally. I have before, but it's not like a thing I do for fun. We always mixed this and stuff, and that's personally why it's my number 3, because Kamchatka vodka isn't great. It's not the worst thing I've ever had. I've just had it in so many terrible things that led to so many terrible decisions. We used to make this stuff we called Dick Punch for parties, and technically the recipe is a sacred secret, so I'm not going to share it, PO or email. the stream and I'll send it to you. That's the follow, and you'll get the recipe. There we go.
I'm
but it
sure
was,
it's just a bunch of like fruit punch and stuff.
It was, yes, but the ratios are important. It was
sure they are.
An amount of lemon lime soda of some kind, an amount of distilled water, an amount of those frozen fruit concentrates you can get at Walmart, and then a whole 2-pound bag of sugar, and then 2 handles of Skull vodka to fill up a 5-gallon Gatorade container. And we called it Dick Punch because it tasted fine. You couldn't taste the alcohol at all, but it had a ton of alcohol in it. And it also had a ton of sugar in it.
Yeah.
It also had a ton of sugar in it. I personally stayed away from it. I probably had 3 glasses of it the whole time I was in college because I just don't like sweet stuff very much. But I had to take care of multiple people who overindulged. One of my favorite memories is one of my friends in college drank like several cups of it. And I walked up to him. It was his first time partying with us. And I was like, hey, man, how many glasses of that have you had? And he said 7. And then I took his glass and threw it in the trash can.
That's a good call.
Yeah. And we took him back to the house. Eventually, we took him back to where we were living at the time. And I get a call from his roommate, who was one of my fraternity brothers. And he's just has me on speakerphone talking to this guy. And he's like, hey, what just happened, buddy? And he goes, I had to make a decision. And he goes, yeah, what was that decision? If I wanted to shit on the floor or puke on it. And then I just heard retching. So fun fact, if you're ever in that situation, definitely shit in the toilet and puke on the floor. Way easier to clean up, which was the decision he made, and it was a smart one. But yeah, I ended up walking over there to help them, and it looked like in this like dorm bathroom, it was just like a sea of thin red liquid. Because yeah, we always used one of the ones we always used was the fruit punch like concentrate. It was just pink. It was awful. We cleaned it up as best as we could. I ended up just throwing out all 2 of the towels I brought with me. Had to buy new towels the next day because I was in college and those how many towels I owned.
Right.
Yeah, cheap vodka. We also used to take fruit from the cafeteria.
Oh yeah.
And everybody would just get as much as they could get without getting caught of like the pre-chopped fruit in the morning for breakfast on a Saturday. And we would take it back to one guy's room. He had like a little cooler, and we would pour the vodka into that cooler over the top of all of the fruit we could all gather and it for the entire day. And then Saturday night we would hang out in their common room and drink that.
Yeah, that's a time-honored tradition, is stealing fruit to make jungle juice.
Yep. Yeah, cheap vodka. So it's one of the worst things I've ever drank. Some of the worst hangers I've ever had. Cheap vodka.
It is interesting because I feel almost everybody I know has some equivalent of like super secret formula that involves super cheap vodka, a bunch of sugar, and an amount of like lemon lime soda. But like my experience in college with it was the exact opposite, because we were a wet campus, which meant nobody could there's like a bunch of rules though. So like you were allowed to drink on campus, but you weren't allowed to like sell alcohol. You couldn't bring alcohol like into like I also was in a fraternity, sorry. You couldn't bring alcohol into a fraternity house during a party. That was like a rule. So we had to supply free booze to everybody every weekend. So like beer's too expensive to do that. So you do mixed drinks, but like mixed drinks, even that, like you just run out. You know what I mean? So you would take a bottle of vodka and fill other empty bottles of vodka. Skull. I personally was a Skull person. I drank Skull in college, but Kamchatka was definitely everywhere as well. And then you would mix that with fruit punch. And then you would have just like an orange bottle of vodka. And you would just pour shots with it all night.
My go-to was Fireball whiskey and Arizona green tea. You buy a bottle of Fireball whiskey, you drink enough of the gallon of Arizona green tea that you can just pour the whole bottle in there and you take that to wherever you're going.
Yeah, but like we wouldn't let you do that. We're not done.
Prime was a dry campus, so we were all doing it against the rules anyway.
Well, you were probably going to like house parties and stuff, but like if you rolled up to a fraternity house with a bottle of anything, we would just be like, no, you can't. Obviously, there's alcohol in there. So, but this all backfires obviously because like you've mixed down all of your alcohol, so people are taking shots and have no idea what's in them, and you have no idea what's in them, and you don't know what they've drank anywhere else. So people would get like blackout drunk, drinking. How much did you drink? I had 15 shots because each one shot was technically like a quarter shot or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like every fraternity mixed their stuff differently. So like I tried to give straight shots to people and I had to stop because people were like, well, I know that I can have 15 shots. And it's like, no, you cannot. You can have like four of the. Yeah, exactly. So I always thought that was weird. People like, oh yeah, we get like super drunk on like cheap vodka, and I'm like, I've been everything but super drunk because of cheap vodka, because we would mix it down so much. But my number 2 is gonna be a transition away from liquor that tastes terrible and into a beer that just legitimately tastes super weird. Rogue Brewing paired up with Voodoo Donuts and made a donut beer.
Voodoo Donuts, that's in Portland, right?
Yes.
I learned that because of our other podcast.
Yeah. It comes in a big pink bottle. I literally bought this on a Sunday. I got like a case of beer. I was going to go watch football at my friend's place. I got like a case of PBR. And I saw this big pink bottle and I was like, I don't know what that is. Apparently it's a donut beer. It's like bacon maple donuts. And I was like, I'm down. I got $6 or whatever it was because it's like a bomber, so it was like $10 or something. And it's the weirdest beer I've ever had. Like, as somebody who goes out of their way to like experience weird things. Like if I'm at a bar and they have a weird beer, that's what I'm gonna get first. And this is still like at the top of just the weirdest. Like it tastes like donuts. And like you really? Can't have more than one bomber. Like one is enough. Honestly, it's 2 beers, and 2 beers is too many. One of these is enjoyable. The second one, you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Like it's like drinking maple syrup. But it's just like the weirdest thing. Like it's just stuck with me forever. Like just like that one night where I had to drink this donut beer, trying to get through the second half of my second beer and being like, I don't want to do this. And my friends were like, just don't drink it. You have PBR. And I'm like, but I poured it. You know what I mean? You're not going to not drink your beer.
I kind of want to find this now. Do they still make it?
Yeah, it's not that hard to find. Like, if you've got a liquor store that carries like less orthodox craft beer, you can find it.
Okay, I'll check out Big Red.
I mean, I got this stuff. Picture for this podcast like yesterday. You know what I mean? So, and I drank this beer I think 5 years ago, or like it was a long time ago. It was like 2014 or something. So, yeah, you can find it for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
My number 2 is Jim Beam Honey. I can't drink honey flavored liquor at all to this day. Mostly because it's just too sweet, and I just don't like sweet things. But also because the first fraternity party I ever went to, one of the guys in the fraternity I'm joining, I walked in, and he was like, "Baker, put your hands like this." And for people that are listening to this in an audio medium, imagine you're like going to high five yourself, but then in front of your face, but then stop like at each eye. And so I did that, and then he pulled a bottle of Jim Beam Honey out from behind his back, stuck it to my hands, and then rolled duct tape out of his pocket and duct taped it to my hands and said he would cut it off when I'd finish the bottle. Finish that bottle, I did. It was like the 3rd time ever drinking. Jim Beam Honey is not that high of an alcohol content for those people that are worried, and it took me several hours. The worst part was that I had to pee really bad about an hour in, and it's really hard to pee when your hands are duct taped to a bottle of Jim Beam Honey whiskey. So it's actually how I ended up meeting one of my best friends in college, Matthew Magaliola, if you ever listen to this, was because I finished this bottle, get him to cut the thing off of my hands, and I run upstairs to the one bathroom I know of in this house we used to party at that was owned by an alumni that was off campus. and there's a guy passed out on the toilet, like toilet lid head. And there's like roughly half a face's width of visible toilet. And drunk Austin goes, "Yeah, I can shoot that gap."
Did you pee on that man's face?
So I whip it out. I start to go to the bathroom, and then somebody grabs me from behind over my shoulders and pulls me back. And it's like, "We have another bathroom. We have another bathroom. We have another bathroom." So that's how I met Mags, because that sound woke him up. And yeah, that was the day I almost peed on his face, because there was no way I was shooting that gap.
You just move him. He's passed out. Just shove.
I felt rude.
Compared to peeing on him?
I thought for sure.
Was that not
at
rude?
that time?
Even peeing near someone's face, also rude. It's not less rude. I mean, I guess it is technically less rude than actually peeing on them.
I didn't want to wake him up. He looked very peaceful. He's a very peaceful looking dude when he's sleeping. He knows this.
Yes.
To this day, he likes to also tell the story from his perspective. And I didn't pee on him because somebody stopped me from doing it. So, win-win. But yeah, honey flavored anything with alcohol is hard for me to drink. Even a cocktail that has honey like mixed into it still like gives me a little bit of a replay to that night. And it was not a good night for my stomach.
I mean, you almost peed on a guy.
Which normally would put it up at the top of events in my life, honestly. But that's neither here nor there.
Now you're the king shame. All right.
Yeah, that's my number 2.
My number one is my number one by like 10,000%. This is something similar to Malort, where like I asked for it at a bar and they were like, "No, we're not gonna give you that because you don't know what it is, and we know you don't know what it is because you asked for it, and no human being would ever willingly drink this." And that thing is Brynjaveen.
Never even heard of that.
Yeah, it is the spirit of Iceland. It is, I think, probably only purchasable in Iceland. Maybe some surrounding countries, like if you were in like Northern Ireland or something, or like Scotland, like North Europe. It's been a long time since I've had it. I went to Iceland. I was on my way to Ireland for a wedding, and I was like, let's hang out in Iceland for a couple of days because it's not on the way, but you can do it pretty cheaply. This was when WoW Air still existed. And there's a guy I know, his family's Icelandic, and he was like, "Hey, while you're there, you have to try this stuff called Brynjaveen." And this is like months before we leave, right? So like we write it down. All right, when we get there, we're gonna do it. We're there. We're at this bar. Everything in Iceland's super expensive because it's just an island. They don't make anything there. Everything is shipped. So everything's really expensive. So like we're like very cautiously ordering beers and drinking them. And then we go, "Oh, we were supposed to get what was it called? What was it called?" And we were like, "It's like specific to Iceland, Brynjabur." And then the bartender goes, "You mean Brynjaveen?" And we go, "Yeah." And she goes, "No."
Was this the same bartender that when she found out you did improv / any type of comedy was embarrassed because she had previously been talking about how much she hated people who did those activities?
No, that was in Amsterdam. And in her defense, she had like broken up with a local improviser.
Nah.
And like I was like, "Yeah, I do improv. It's not the same. I'm not like the guy you broke up with." Like he was like part of like there's like a big improv theater in Amsterdam. And I was like, I do shows once a month. We practice once a week. I'm not that guy. I'm not recording tapes for SNL or anything. But no, that was a different person. This one, she was just like, no, you can't have it. She's like, we're like, our friend said it was good. And she was like, your friend lied to you. He's messing with you. Who is your friend? And eventually we were like, we told him we'd do it. I don't care if it's gross. Let's just do it. She didn't charge us. We got our shots for free. And again, this is a place where shots are like $20 a pop because everything's just so expensive there. And she pulls this bottle like out of the freezer. That bottle's definitely been there forever. And she was like, we keep it in the freezer because it bounces. And we're like, what do you mean it bounces? She goes, people take it and they just puke. Like, it just bounces. And I was like, I'm getting excited. My buddy is like, we shouldn't do this. I'm like, no. Give me
100%.
Feed me this. And I take it, and it's almost like Jello. Like, Jello, like, there's like no consistency. And I don't mean like liquid Jello. I mean, imagine just like super not dense Jello that tastes awful. And like, we do it, and it's just like immediate, like, holy shit. And like, the bartender kind of gets nervous. Like, she just thinks we're gonna puke, and I'm like, we're not gonna puke. It's okay. I was like, I think I might have invoked Malort. Like, I was gonna be like, we got equally terrible stuff in the States. Like, we're gonna be okay. But also, holy crap, who drinks this? And she was like, it's the digestive. Old guys drink it. It's just it's their Jaeger. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, if you hit 60, terrible booze tastes good apparently, and you're all like really into it. And like, I don't know why. I don't know what causes that. But that's what this thing is.
Gotta try and find this in the States somewhere.
There's no way. The only place in the States you could find this is one of those like weird, like super international grocery stores, like a Jungle Gyms or something.
Been down to make a trip.
I mean,
I want to do, one of my like goals in life is to eventually, if I ever get to if I retire before we all burn out all of our resources, everybody dies, which is unlikely. My goal is to retire and start a distillery that also doubles as a game store and is all Dungeons and Dragons thing. But one of the things I want to do is I want to make liquor that isn't made in the United States. So this will be on the list. There's a liquor that's made from plums in Bulgaria that the Bulgarian coworkers I have talked about a lot that I really want to make that they say is also awful. They also make a liquor that's like yogurt based that is supposedly like people that aren't from Bulgaria can't drink it because the texture makes you puke. I want to try making that. This is on the list.
It's not the soundest business model to make things that you know are terrible. Who's going to drink this stuff?
Well, I think if I have the equipment to make stuff that people will drink, right, I can just use it one day a month to make a weird thing if I can get the ingredients in as a personal project. I don't know that I would actually sell it to anybody. Like, it might be like a special for a month or whatever, but we don't bottle it and sell it to people. You have to bottle and sell like your normal stuff, and it'll be fun because like I think it'll do well in sales to liquor stores because it'll all be in like themed bottles. I'm really upset that I probably can't get the rights to the word Fireball as a type of liquor because that's an obvious choice, right?
Yeah, probably not.
But there are other options. It's something like potion bottles. It'll be cool.
I just imagine somebody coming into the distillery and being like, hey, what's the awful thing this month? Can I get one of those?
Wouldn't you go to that distillery every month that was in your hometown?
No.
You'd be part of the membership.
I mean, I would go to like the game store distillery. I'm not going in and being like, hey, what's this month's terrible thing?
Well, that's where you and I differ, Danny. I think it's a good business model.
That is true. I called that out at the beginning of the episode.
You're right.
That's my number one, Brennivine. You don't have to avoid it because you're not going to find it. But if you do find it, do avoid it.
And if you do find it, ship it to us.
I bet a bottle of that in the States is like $50.
I'd pay $50. That sounds like, yeah, that's fine.
How many people do you think have bought Brennivine thinking it was super nice because it was really expensive and from Iceland, and then got back and they were like, what the hell?
Why? I assume everybody except for like the 3 Icelandic people who bought it for old time's sake. This is Grandpappy's birthday.
Yeah, it's like if you lived in Europe and found a bottle of Malort somewhere and you were like, oh, we have to.
Yeah, exactly. My number one is the one and the only Mad Dog 2020.
Mad Dog.
Mad Dog 2020 gets my number one spot because I had, I think the second time I ever drank anything, second time I ever drank anything in college specifically, I got invited to play a day at the races with some friends of mine that I had met. And a day at the races is where you play the original Mario Party, but only the horse racing game, all computers, and you just bet shots on which horse is going to win. we eventually switched to Smash Brothers 4 for the Wii U and did computers that way and bet on who was going to win, and you would bet an amount of shots. And if you lost, you had to do the amount of shots that you bet. And if you won, everybody had to do the amount of shots you bet on top of their own shots, was how it worked. But we were doing like quarter shots. I was dead broke because I was a freshman in college. Didn't have a job yet after getting to college. I ended up with one shortly afterwards. So I only had like $25. And so with $25, I was given the PBR that had been left at that house from the party at room temperature in August the week before, which was like 6 of those. And then I gave them the $15 I had, which was enough to get back change and buy Subway for 2 bottles of MD 2020. I got the red grape variety, and I got the red and the banana variety because, quote, they're the worst too, when the person handed it back to me when he got back in the car. I drank both of them and like 3 or 4 skunky room temperature PBRs that night. I remember being in the car on the way back. I never blacked out. I remember being in the car on the way back. My buddy who I'm with is also plaster drunk. He had puked already. The other 2 guys are older. They're like driving us back, and I'm just like hanging on for dear life. I'm not going to puke in this car. I'm not going to be that guy. We are in the car. I'm like looking at my knees. They're worried about the other guy, and I'm like, no, it's cool. Don't worry. I can take care of it. I'll make sure he gets back to his girlfriend. She'll take care of him. And they're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fine. I got this. The whole time, just like in the back of my head, you're not going to puke in the car. You're not going to puke in the car. They stop the car. I casually undo my seatbelt, open it, close the door, turn to the Jeep that they parked next to, and just puke all over its tire for a solid minute.
Nice.
It's the most I've ever puked in my life that I remember, by far. And I turn back to them, and they're all staring at me in horror, and I go, I'm good to go now. And I walk my friend back to his dorm where he meets his girlfriend, and I go, hey, man, can I just sleep on your couch? I don't know that I'm going to make it back to my apartment. And sure enough, I pass out on his couch. I wake up the next day at like 2 or 3. And I was supposed to go with my at the time girlfriend on a date at 4 with the guy that I had walked back to his girlfriend's place the night before. So I walk back to my apartment, realize I still have puke like on my jacket that I'm wearing. Still own that jacket. It's a good jacket.
Nice.
I washed it after this. There's still puke on the jacket, and all of a sudden I hear like a car pulling up beside me and slamming on the brakes, and it's another guy that hadn't been there that night but was supposed to. And he goes, I heard you had a rough night. And I turned to him, puke on my face, hair plastered to my face, as the most hungover I've ever been because there's alcohol poisoning. And he goes, oh, yeah, you did. And he just drives off in his Chevy, whatever it was. It was like the sporty Chevy from the mid 2000s. And I walk back, I fall asleep, I wake up 30 minutes later, I take a shower, my girlfriend gets there, and I call my friend, and I'm like, hey, man, let's go on that date. We were going to go to Sweetwater in Fort Wayne, which is a music store, but that's vaguely unimportant for this. And I go to walk out the door. I turn to my girlfriend and hold one finger up, and I go, 1 second. And I open the bathroom door, and I just puke in the toilet for a while. And I stand up, I go and I brush my teeth, I walk back out, and I go, okay, I'm good to go. And she goes, are you drunk? And I go, no, I'm just the most hungover I have ever been. And to this day, still the most hungover I've ever been, by far. And she goes, we're not going anywhere. And I'm like, that's fine. I call my buddy back, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm too hungover to do anything. And he goes, yeah, I was about to call you and say that there is no way I'm meeting you anywhere and driving anybody to Fort Wayne right now. And I hear his girlfriend yelling at him in the background. And then I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning, still hungover. Friday night drink, wake up Saturday, the most hungover I've ever been. Saturday, fall asleep at like 5 after only being awake for like 3 hours. Wake up Sunday morning, still hungover. Go about my day, go to sleep, wake up Monday, still feeling a little bit ill. Because that wasn't a hangover, that was alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
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 I could not drink or smell grape juice without gagging. I couldn't drink it at all. I couldn't smell grape juice. Drink grape juice for over a year after that. I didn't drink wine until my junior year of college, 2.5 years later, because the just taste of grape flavor with alcohol would make me gag.
Yeah, that checks out.
I finally got over it because I went on a date with a girl at a winery, and I was like, I'm just going to suck it up. I'm just going to suck it up.
Yeah, very few people have good stories of MD 2020. It's never like, oh yeah, man, I like it was a wild party. We drank a bunch of MD 2020. It was awesome. It is always so. I was in high school, and this was the cheapest thing I could get my hands on, and we drank way too much of it, and it was the worst.
No, it's still like just thinking it still makes my body kind of writhe. It was actually such a bit that the guy I mentioned in that story that was the friend was Tony, who ended up being my roommate when I graduated college. That I left for a night after we moved in together for like 2 months, and came back, and they put on a like box so that when I opened the door, the first thing I saw was MD 2020 at like eye level, and I just screamed no and swatted it into the ground and walked into the house.
Yeah, man.
Rough time.
That's a good number one. I think it's number one for a lot of people. The Mad Dog comes for all of us eventually, I think.
Sorry to anybody who's ever tasted it, but mostly myself.
All right, well, that's been 5 of the weirdest things we've ever drank. Apparently, with a follow-up bonus episode of a tier list of the best cheap beers you can drink. So look out for that follow-up. This is live streamed every Monday on twitch.tv/Aureus_network around 8:30. You can check it out on YouTube and on Spotify soon enough. Thanks for listening.
Yep, thank you. Have a good one.